the music and whatnot.
Sure, yeah.
Sure. And now Rando Kiddo can see us. Yes, you did totally say Kurt makes you feel pretty. That's what's going to go on your jersey if you ever get one.
Kurt makes me feel pretty.
Yep. I wish
you would step back from that ledge, my friend.
Good. Cut size. All right. No. All right.
No.
Some good time flashbacks.
I would like, one of my goals is to find a way to partner with Oweo, who makes my jerseys, so that we could sell at a somewhat of hopefully a discount, sell show jerseys, because I think that would be a fun thing. Of course, jersey is a higher end product. It still probably $50. But right now, I mean, when I buy them, it's about $70, but they're 100% customized to what I want, with everything, the colors to the logos to the everything on the back to the style of how the paint's on them. But it's very much like I gotta get 2 more this year. This year I haven't got any yet this year, but I'm gonna get by Finding the Stories. I'm gonna get that one done up, and then I'm gonna make an official Dragon Con one for me to wear. But yeah, I think it'd be, because if you buy them in bulk, like for teams and stuff, they get as low as $40 a jersey, which is really good because it's all customized. But you're talking about ordering 10, and at most, like right now, we might have 2 people want to order one for the show. So I don't know how that works.
And one of them people is you.
I already have mine. Do wear a jersey to get subs from Mike. Wow, that's not even a bad dad joke. That's
Jersey Mike's got it.
Yeah. Well, on that note,
get ready to laugh out loud with Wise and Nerdy, the show hosted by 2 hilarious dads who are bringing their unique blend of wit, wisdom, and nerdiness to the airwaves. From sharing hilarious anecdotes about the...
Wait a second. It is way too early for Kelsey R to be crashing the show. You don't get to come in until at least 30 minutes, and we got to have some man time, woman.
Get ready to laugh out loud with Wise and Nerdy, the show hosted by 2 hilarious dads who are bringing their unique blend of wit, wisdom, and nerdiness to the airwaves. From sharing hilarious anecdotes about their own experiences to giving advice on navigating the ups and downs of life, these 2 dads have got you covered. But that's not all. They're also obsessed with all things nerdy, from comic books and sci-fi movies to video and board games. So whether you're a fellow dad, a pop culture fanatic, or just in need of a good laugh, tune in to Wise and Nerdy and join in the fun.
I was looking over at some show notes on the screen. I look back. Sean's just all in. Tonight, playing the role of Kurt Booten, Grumpy Pants Grandpa, is Sean Weiland.
Hi, everybody.
I see what you did there. Sir. Oh, so welcome to the show, everybody. This is Wise and Nerdy, where fatherhood meets fandom. And like I said, tonight, Sean's going to be riding shotgun as Kurt is getting ready. I think he's either on the road to go to a cruise. Somehow he's going to be out 2 weeks, and they don't do 2-week cruises. So I'm not sure what kind of shenanigans
he's packing up tonight, and he's getting back next week, probably.
They're expensive, but you could do it.
Hey, civilians here, Rando Kiz here, some spammer named Kelsey's here. It's awesome. It's great stuff. But we've got this.
It's the question of the week.
So the question of the week, all 3 of us have been around panels, been around cons, and I thought, what's a fun question that would come from that world? And it could be the weirdest, it could be the funniest. I phrase it as, what's the dumbest question you've ever heard on a panel? But just, it could be something that stood out to you, I guess. Because none of us are really those guys that want to make fun of something, but sometimes there are really some I'm sorry, what question? What are you talking about out there?
I've been there was one year where they had a bunch of voice actors at Dragon Con, And there were a couple of those panels that I went to when someone got up and they asked a person about a specific role and they got the actor messed up.
Oh no.
I was just like, oh, you
Sean.
didn't, but they did.
Oh no.
Oh no, that's rough. It's funny because we were chatting before the show, and you said we were going to talk about these kind of questions, and I have a dual answer for that, and one of them is just always the generic question of like, how do you get into that? I'm like, that's a loaded question, man. Like, 4 years of education and training and networking and all these things. And this is for any profession because I'll be on voiceover panels and video game panels, and that's a really, really tough one. But I really, really like when I get the questions of like asking about a very specific methodology. So when it's, hey, I noticed like I watched this anime and someone does this scream. Can you have any tips on like how to do a really good scream? And you can tell if someone's like technically interested and has some knowledge besides Googling, I want to be a voice actor. Let's say. and I really like those questions. Like those are cool because that means someone has an interest that's just beyond surface level. And I always appreciate that kind of question.
Yeah, I get that. Mine's similar for a dumb question. It's y'all panels like about podcasting or those kind of things. Somebody always goes, how do I get started? It's such, like you said, why? It's just too wide of a question, but that's not the question that really gets me. Now that I've always, for the longest time, I tried to be the anti-gatekeeper, right? I'm the cheerleader. I'm like, here's how you help. But after like the 500th time of seeing this dumb question, I just hit people. It's like, stop asking it, which is, well, what do I talk about? Get out of here. Get out of here. If you don't even think of podcasts, if you don't even know what you want to talk about, that's the dumbest thing. It's like going to an Instagram influencer, like, well, what do I influence? I'm sorry. Did you ask your mama how to breathe today? Because you're really hitting my hot buttons right now. How do I get on the panel is my favorite question. That is actually a standard question that comes along a bit, which is, it is that, and I say every time, use our Discord. If it's specifically for Dragon Con, use our link tree. We're on the Wise and Nerdy brand, so I can't find it. But don't worry about it. But yeah, go to our link tree and join our Discord. And I have a spiel for that because that is understandable. Because I think that kind of goes into like the greatest hits, right? When you go see your band or some of your favorite people that do something that aren't like jokes. Like jokes, you can't really have greatest hits. You've got to keep fresh ones. But it is okay. I might have answered that 5,000 times. But this might legit be your first time of thinking about going to a con or as a creator, going, oh, I have somebody here. I'd like to get on these panels type of deal. So I just understand it's a greatest hits question. It is just, this might be the first time you've heard it. So let me just give you a tight spiel and then I can expound on that if needed.
Yeah. I think we should have like an FAQ for new content creators on the
FAQ
digital,
too. What?
On the digital media track link tree. So like every year, people come to Dragon Con or to the digital media track and they're like, what equipment should I get? And that's something that we could definitely just list out equipment recommendations. Granted, they change, or list out like a channel that says, hey, we know that this channel provides great recommendations.
Yeah. I would say
from a director standpoint, you're wrong. One, you always use that question. That's the best question ever because it keeps bodies coming to the panel. So we get the head count. So we keep doing that panel. But also, hey, we have our own channel. Go to our Discord. We have a room where there's professionals who will ask you questions and talk to you.
Yeah,
and
like what's your budget? What's your studio look like? Is it an actual studio? Like, I don't have very much sound dampening behind me, but if you look at Sean's background, there's a whole bunch of acoustic foam behind him.
I can scream and there's no echo. It's great. Oh, we can also see my nice microphone in the shot there. Yes.
Oh, a shotgun mic. Nice.
Oh, yes. It's the Sennheiser HK16.
Ooh, fancy.
It's a starter mic. He'll get better. Don't worry about it.
Man, I got it used and it was expensive. Holy crap.
But that is the other thing too, Joe. When you do this panels, yeah, they're going to ask what gear, what this, a lot of the same greatest hits questions. But again, that's your opportunity to change a life because you're helping them and you're giving them an answer. Whereas an FAQ is we don't care. Now for that specific question, we don't care. And then the information gets outdated, those kind of things. But with those questions, we're moving bodies through. My question of
Fair
how to
point.
get on a panel, that could be an FAQ. It's like, how do I get on a panel? Click this link and then
get in the Discord.
Yeah, get in the Discord. So yeah, off of that though. Okay, so Sean, you do a number of cons every year. We're talking about that a little bit in the Patreon beforehand.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And so you do different aspects, not just panels, but you go and represent a brand. You sit at a booth. What's the one thing that you're like, this question is coming, let's get the bingo card out?
Oh man. So depending on the role, but I think one of the most common questions, besides how do you get into the business, what's your favorite XYZ, like favorite character, favorite role, favorite game. One of the most sad ones that I get recently, having like pushing more.
Where's my mummy?
Depending on the setting, I have two different answers.
I hope one of those answers, I don't know you, kid. Go away.
However, I'm not your dad, so I don't know. But I think probably the saddest one I get now, or recently, is like doing more voiceover. Is, do I know you from anything? And it's like, no, you probably don't. And then something go, no, I get a lot of work, but unless you call Pillow Windows of North Carolina, I'm not going to hear my voice.
I like this, Joe. Digital media track bingo cards. Hand them out at the kickoff panel. That is not a bad idea. Now, the question that we'll need to get into off show is, do we do new ones for every panel? Because you could do one just for a panel I'm on of what Charles always says. So we find this word, that word, those kind of things. But I think that'd be fun. And
yeah, so we could do that, or we could do bingo cards where go to a panel with this person on it, like different people who are regulars for those, and they have to sign the square.
I like it. And then we charge those panelists $5 to have their name on the card. And that's how we pay for the track this year.
It's not enough that I bribe you with booze every year?
Every year, though. I remember 2020 being a dry year, sir.
Well, some things happened in 2020.
Well, you can blame your wife on that one. She was in charge of the beverages.
Yeah.
Roll that dice.
Let Daddy decide.
Oh,
I love how Sean is unprepared for all of our sound bites. This is so good.
I listened to the show last night too.
Good job. I appreciate you. This one actually is for you, Sean. How do I become a video game producer?
I think my stock answer was suck at everything else in video game development.
That was your answer.
However, the real answer is a little bit complex, but let's say college is incredibly useful in this instance if you have the means to go. So if you go to college, and now a lot of programs actually have video game production as a bachelor's level degree that you can get. And that's very, very helpful because you can basically learn like basic project management, task tracking, all those good technical things that a producer needs to have. However, if you do not have the propensity for talking with people, figuring out very, very mundane questions, kind of like the stuff we were just talking about, like I have stock answers for all these things at cons. If that annoys you, you're not going to be a good producer, because that is a lot of the work, is that kind of interpersonal communication, sorting out tasks, figuring out basic things to incredibly advanced things to help your team. I figured out that I was really, really interested in and good at this because of working in retail and working in restaurants and working in theater and tending to take on those kind of roles just because I liked helping people out. So you need to have that very soft skill set that's not taught in school and have the propensity for, spreadsheets organizational management, task tracking. From there, once you have the educational background, go ahead, Joe.
I was just going to ask, how much technical skills do you have to be a video game producer?
Well, before you answer that, let's take a step back. What actually is a video game producer?
It changes company to company. So right now, I'm actually the program manager at Kings Isle Entertainment. So I'm considered a part of the production department, which is kind of encompasses what I was all just describing of task management and soft skills and all these things. If you were to just walk up to someone random in the games industry and say, what is a producer? They would most likely push towards that more dry management tracking side of things. But usually when you get into a company, that's a project manager. That's the person that handles all the hours and the employees and the stats and the sheets, the tickets and everything else. What I do is much more focused on the soft stuff. I tell people my superpower is you put me in a situation where no one knows what they're doing and ask me to figure it out and figure out how to do the thing. and that is oftentimes my job. I get embedded with different departments that are falling behind, that have issues with software or personnel or hitting goals or figuring out what their goals are. And I help them get oriented, straighten things out, find the software. Right now I'm learning my Microsoft Teams AI note generation for meetings and how we can use that, and then how that's going to help them, everyone having to send in weekly reports, because people don't like to do that.
Yeah.
So let the robots do it. How do we do that? I'm like, well, now I'm the robot manager. I'm robot HR.
You're the robot overlord?
Oh, man.
the overlord
dream
of the robots.
Yeah. That'd be like the Skeletor of robots. That's what I want.
I have blown everybody's mind at my job. I run the company, and I heard you. I'm ignoring you. But you talked about the AI and the notes, and when I had to do a policy for work, I would have to go find. Fortunately, there's an EMS company that published their whole entire handbook and everything, so I can go there. But I have to go there, search for the type of policy I'm looking for, copy it, paste it, go really, really read it, make sure it's not saying anything I don't need, edit it for myself. It's hours of work to then have another set of eyes look at it because I looked at it too long, to then publish it for work to become one of our policies. And then Chat GPT came around, and I started saying, write me a policy for and I refined how I asked, but it takes this ugly paragraph and just formats it for business, and then I go in and very quickly can check and change the titles and everything else I need to do and publish. And one day I'm in a meeting with the owner and another chief, and hey, we need a policy on this. And like 2 minutes later, I emailed it to him like, how are you writing things so fast? Like, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. But yeah, I did tell him.
It's a trade secret.
Yeah. Trying to prove that I need a raise.
But now I've taught all my managers that, because everybody I work with, as you can imagine, I've attracted a team that is very personable. Everybody has different strengths and balances each other out, but we all are talkers. We all are thinkers. And so that kind of tends to lack the professional writing level. Like we just kind of on the page like we talk. So I've taught every last one of them, oh, check this out. And they're like, this is a game changer. So I know, just feed in your crap and out comes this memo or this professional email or all this other stuff. It's amazing. And they're all troublemakers like me, Rando Kid says. We are the island of misfit toys, and it works really well. I like it. So all right, but coming back to producer. So you've had to do some of the Excel sheet stuff. Now you're there, you're that producer really is the appropriate title for what you do, because producers are there to make the show run smoothly and to get to the goal that's been envisioned. And when you say, well, they can't figure it out, and you're making those dots and connecting and coming up with solutions, that's the heart of your role now, is more or less being a problem solver.
And I love it. Like I lucked out into this particular production role. I'll say I lucked out. It took me like 14 years. 14 years of schlepping. But it's one of my favorite things to do is to have that kind of engagement and to have it change. I don't do the same thing every 2 months. It goes from team to project to initiative to initiative. And it's the right thing for my brain to be doing. So I like it.
Well, and what I really like there is you say 14 years. What that tells me is dedication and hard work. And that is universal, regardless of what you want to do. Dedication and hard work will help you regardless of what career path you want to take.
For sure. And it is that, and it's knowing what you want to do and just showing up. I mean, so I guess that is dedication. Sorry, but it's if I know people that have been trying to get into games for 20 years and they're still not there. And that can be sometimes not necessarily focusing, or it could be just a lack of luck. But it's like every other project-based business: theater, movies, TV. There's probably other ones, but this and video games are what I know. You just keep showing up, and you keep schlepping, and you keep trying, and you keep doing. And even if you're not getting paid to do it, you go find other avenues to do it, to keep your practice up, to keep your skills up.
Yeah. And that's actually good advice for anything you truly want to do. As we all know, this is my 20th year of digital media, and there's something coming up this year that I can't talk about yet. So John keeps cracking me up. So he's having adult juice right now, but like one time he ducked just below his name tag on the screen to drink so nobody would see it. This time he held up a Bud Light rag, which is hilarious. One of our Patreon levels, go to patreon.com/wise_n_nerdy, and you can be a Scotch Cateer, which AI helped me come up with that name. And that's a level where you apply. I think it's $13 an episode. It's some random number, but that's where you pledge at that level. When you meet me in real life, we'll cheers with the Scotch together, typically if you're choosing. I mean, I'm not going to go over like $50 for the shot, but well, I'll be generous. Yeah. I'm generous, guys. I know there's some out there's like, I want the 40-year-old McKellen. I was like, yeah, nobody. That $13 pledge level does not get us a 40-year-old McKellen. Thank you very much.
Keep pledging for the next 50 years. How about the 50-year mark?
It's making me laugh. And it made me forget what I was saying. So there we go. There's a good question. Random Kid says, have you produced any video games that I have heard of?
So that used to be one of my least favorite questions, because no, you'd never heard any of it. But finally,
you start listing them. Honestly,
that's true. So the company I work for now, and the one that you most likely would have heard of, is Wizard 101. It came out 15 and a half years ago. Was massively OP, rated game of the year on like every website and rating thing. Won video game awards. It was aimed at as an MMO for kids. And now, because it's been out for so long and a lot of those kids now actually work for our company or are adults and have kids, it's kind of a label as an all ages kid friendly MMO. So kind of think like Shrek, where it's written for kids, but there's some adult humor in there, Star Wars references. Woo! So I work on that game. I work on Wizard 101. We actually just announced a month or two ago that we're coming out with a new single player game. So it's on Steam. Wishlist it now. I didn't even say the name of it though. So we have those, and then I won an award for a tabletop RPG, a game engine that I helped develop and publish. Gosh, that was in 2019. It was the Critical Strength engine based on social emotional learning skills. And then a lot of indie games.
What about some voiceover stuff?
Voiceover. So I do a lot of commercial stuff, and it's random. Pella Windows was my favorite because my last house was all Pella Windows, and I had them installed. I was like, adult money, yay! I'm the voice of the staff training videos for MagFest. For anyone that's into that music and gaming festival up in DC. Let's see. I'm on the pilot for a cartoon called Very Special. Bill Meeks is the producer and the creator of that show. Currently looking for what do you call it? Just distribution, but you can actually go see it on his website. Right. Podcast for voiceovers, dramatic voiceover podcast type stuff. I almost called it Vampire Diaries. Oh my gosh. The Dracula radio play, which they took all the the diary entries from Bram Stoker's Dracula, put them in chronological order, made that a play. Oh man, there's more stuff.
Here's another one. Do you ever voice any of the characters in the video games that you produce?
Oh yeah, I'm actually in Wizard 101. I don't know how many characters anymore, but Benedict von Brutus, who's a bulldog in the Wallaroo expansion, or maybe it was Novus for Wizard 101. It's the voice that literally came with this mustache. I just killed the last African white rhino. It was quite a rush. That kind of voice. That wasn't the line from the game, by the way. That's just what I imagined that voice would say.
Oh my goodness. Yeah.
We were on the African savannah. Oh, my God, it was quite hot.
Roll that dice.
You're gonna do this every time. While you roll dice, I remember what I was saying about showing up. There's something coming out later this year that is one of the things where you just keep practicing, keep doing what you want to do, and just never letting go of that vision, getting right in front of the right people will get you into places that you didn't think you'd be and you want to be. And I'll get to talk about that later on, but that's just good advice all around. But what did the dice say?
What are you nerding out about now?
Why that voice? Shut up, Mike. All right. All right. So Britt Floyd, what is this? Is this like some very bad backyard cover band of Pink Floyd? That's all English slang.
It is a cover band of Pink Floyd.
The wall.
But it wasn't backyard. We were in a pretty large auditorium last night.
All right, Mormon, define pretty large.
I don't. Let me see how the Tivoli.
Oh man, it hold like 250 people, man.
I was gonna say 200. This place is huge.
Oh man, so it was. I'd guess. I don't know. I'm so bad at guessing sizes. Okay. So the Tivoli can hold about 2,000 people.
Oh, that's a decent size. That is definitely a decent size auditorium.
So what kind of music? It was Pink Floyd. It's a Pink Floyd cover band, and so they had a laser show and everything, and it was good. They did good. What?
Nobody on the face of this earth, including Papa NASCAR, may rest in peace, would ever peg you for a Pink Floyd fan.
Okay, and
I'm just surprised. Why, man? What took you to a cover band? And please tell me they're British, and that's why it's called Brit Floyd, because otherwise this name's driving me crazy.
Based on their accents, I assume they're British. But yeah, so a friend of mine here local was like, hey, you want to go see Brit Floyd? They're a Pink Floyd cover band. I'm like, sure, let's go. And the whole time I was thinking about my dad, because he loved Pink Floyd. He was big into Pink Floyd. He went and saw a laser show where they which album is it that meets up with Wizard of Oz? But anyway, it was a laser show where they played Wizard of Oz with
the Breaking the Wall.
Is it Breaking the Wall? It's one of them. It's one of their albums. You supposedly start the movie and the album at the same time, or something like that.
Did it.
And
they did all right. It was interesting.
And so my dad went to one of those concerts when I was younger. I was probably 10 or so when he went, and he absolutely loved that. And so so the whole time I'm sitting there, and
so you have actually heard Pink Floyd songs.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that was gonna be a question.
Are you even cultured?
Oh, let me just say, you're not getting
that
any.
Just surprised me. That's all. It surprised me.
Let me just say, vegans, they can't have pudding. How can you have pudding if you don't eat your meat?
I feel very uncomfortable right now.
Are you a Pink Floyd fan?
No. Also, Sean, I'm glad you came on. We got to talk about some HR violations with Joe over here.
At the end of another brick in the wall, listen to the very end, and there's an old man saying you can't have any pudding if you don't eat your meat.
Oh, okay.
Okay, Joe. So
nobody else would peg either one of us as Pink Floyd fans
either.
You know. Oh man!
Like it puts the lotion on its skin. Oh,
But it was a lot of fun. So it was real good. Good time.
How was the smell in the air? Is my real question.
There wasn't, like, you're probably wondering, like, I didn't smell any substances, if that's what you're getting at.
That's literally what I'm getting. Yes, that is because
I mean
the reason the Pink Floyd,
the lady
Wizard of Oz things. Go ahead.
Yeah, the lady a few seats down from us was definitely drunk on alcohol and everything, but
you know what it is people who go to a Pink Floyd cover band probably does gummies. Nobody smokes anymore
at this age.
Yeah. But no, I'm not a Pink Floyd fan. I barely know their music. The reason that the album didn't line up was just okay for the Wizard of Oz is because I did it when I was in college and I was not smoking weed, and that's kind of the requirement for you to go, oh my God, this is amazing. Because without weed, it's okay. So you guys had a good time, man.
Yeah,
that sounds like fun.
The laser show was really great. It was awesome.
Very cool. So Sean brought building old PCs so he can retro game.
Oh, this is
it's two different subjects,
separate and the same. So I've had this issue where last year, so I moved to Texas a year and a half ago, and about 6-7 months in, my company did a old hardware giveaway. I was like, oh yes. So I was first in the drawing. I actually got the PC that I'm using right now. It's an old Dell workstation. Still great. Like 6-core, i7, whatever.
Okay.
But at the end, they're like, hey, if there's any extra stuff, people can take them. I was like, oh. So I got this old Antec, full steel case.
Wow. 2
HB&V Phoenixes that were 6-ish gen i7s. And then I had to wait an extra week, but an Origin PC Systems, gaming, a thin desk client. That was just wrecked to hell. The motherboard wasn't attached. The power
they
cord.
Throw it down the stairs.
I don't know what happened, but they're like, "Hey, well, someone might want this." And I was like, "Oh, okay." I fixed that one up. Now that's because I only use this PC for audio stuff. This is just for work. But that one, it's a 7th gen Intel i7, so 4-core, 8 threads, 4.3 gigahertz, and that's not a lot. However, if you're only doing gaming, that's just about enough bandwidth.
I am so glad we brought you on to improve our female listenership.
Sorry, but
I'm messing.
To condense down.
No, come on, we're nerds.
So someone else then gave me. They're like, "Oh, you're putting together these PCs." So people started giving me parts at work. Someone gave me an RTX 2070.
That's a decent card.
Right, that's the nicest video card I've had to date. And I managed, by removing some parts, to wedge it inside that thin client Origin PC. Well, you can guess where the bottleneck is now, but it looks great. And so I've been doing stuff like that. I have a wooden open air PC case that I built a while back that I'm currently turning into a dual boot system for Windows XP and Windows 7. And I actually got a PCI, basically a card slot switch. That's a power switch to turn on different hard drives at different times. So I can turn on 2 hard drives and do my Windows XP with an extra drive, or to turn on the other 2 and do Windows 7 with an extra drive.
Interesting.
And that one's what is it? A Core 2 quad processor. So the last series right before they would switch to the I labeling of the Intel Core I series. And then, actually, this one I can show to the camera. So is it your patrons can see the video?
Anyone that goes to our YouTube can see the video.
So this is a Toshiba T2000SX that I actually completely gutted, put a new screen in. It's running a Ryzen 5 4500X.
So you really just have the shell. Everything else is a new computer.
I tried to save the keyboard so bad. I actually got a Teen Z. I learned Python to try to freaking program it. The keyboard was dead.
Joe, what is Python?
It's just a programming language, often used for web interfaces. But no, there's an entire community that makes sleeper PCs like that. They find clunky shells that look like they are generally pretty old, and they put new hardware in it, and so that people are shocked with how much performance they're getting out of these awkward looking machines. It's a whole community. I've looked at some of the stuff that they've put in and that they've made, and I'm like, wow, that is incredible.
I blame it on Hackers a little bit, the movie.
Yeah.
That came out when I was like 12 or 13, so it was very formative and like, I need a cool PC from that age that looks like that, but also doesn't run Windows 3.1.
Yeah.
But
that's slightly different than the story I heard maybe last year, where somebody, just because they could, they somehow got Doom on something that shouldn't be on, like a Tamagotchi or something like that. It was something
that is a common occurrence where people put Doom on anything they can.
Yeah.
So there's all kinds of weird machines that people have gotten Doom running on it,
which I think is pretty cool. So do you use those PCs for the retro gaming, or you just like retro gaming?
Both. So the Toshiba one specifically, and I want to say it was an MIT student or a Stanford student a year or two ago, came out with an insanely good Windows 98 emulator, like to the point where it not only does it like emulate the system or the
you still get the blue screen of death just emulated.
Well, but it can take calls to your current video card and processor and translate them into Windows 98 era commands.
Oh,
so you can natively run off CD-ROM your old CD-ROM games, which I still have all of mine. I have the original Duke Nukem. I have Hexen. I have Lemmings on CD-ROM. I have like all these old games. So I have, I was like, so that's what that Toshiba is specifically for that. It's a little too much power, probably just for doing that. But since it has that
why not?
Shape and size, and it has that 7-inch screen, which what else is going to fit on there? Except old resolution games.
Right.
But I also am terribly obsessed with all the Android handheld retro gaming stuff that's coming out. And I spend too much time. Luckily, I try to work out while I'm watching videos and reviews of these things. I think it's amazing. I have like the PS1, the little mini PlayStation system that came out a couple years ago, and I hacked that.
Yeah, the commercial one. Yeah.
So I hacked that and loaded that up with a ton of ROMs. I've done it to my phone. I have an Ouya that I'm about to hack. All my 3DSs and 2DSs in my house, I've hacked for retro emulation. And I keep looking at the handheld things coming out. They just came out with a really cool clamshell Game Boy SP looking. Is it Embernic? I want to say it's RG35XXSP. I know I can feel the whole room trying.
I don't know what that was. I'm old.
No, that's just the model number. So it's they literally put the SP at the end of the model name to be like Game Boy Advance SP, but is.
I gotcha.
He stands for I'm special.
I was looking around because when I cleaned up my studio a week ago, I still have the original Orange Box collection box with the disc in it, which I kept just because if you know, right? And so a lot of times they'll end up behind me on the shelf, so you just see, hey, is that an Orange Box back there? It's like, yes, it is. It's the actual Orange Box.
So that's the one thing that bums me out. That's why when I was making notes, I put retro gaming in quotes, because I've been building, and Joe mentioned it. Like I have a bookcase that's all my old game systems. They're mounted on the side of the wall, both sides, in the middle. I've made stands, so all generations of the PlayStation, including the PlayStation 1, the PSP, all the Nintendo game handhelds ever. But partly it's just because so I can organize my stuff, and also I need to play games that I have a backlog of. But at this point, they're still new to me because I bought them when they were new. But now when I talk to people at work, they're like, "Oh, those are retro games."
Yeah.
Shut up. Those.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to get. Yeah, Xbox 360 turns 20 next year. I still have the Halo edition of the original Xbox. Hold on, stretch.
I had the Halo edition. It died on me.
Look at that.
Yeah, I mean, again, like I'm just trying to organize my stuff. Like I never finished Crimson Skies or Kung Fu Chaos, for that matter.
There's probably you got Halo 2, the steel box. Is that what that is?
Yeah.
There's probably people going, man, that's so dumb. You bought them games. Yet go look at your Steam library. You know, everybody who's a gamer that has a Steam library always has well, I've got too many games that I can't even play them, and you know, so on and so forth. So it's like, yeah, no, we all have our thing that we do.
Look, Linus had a safety blanket. I have safety video games.
Halo 2, I just played a couple weeks ago with my kids, so it's
yeah. You know, I tend to just be in the moment. I have all digital copies of everything I own. Like, well, if the servers go down, okay, it's fine. You know, I'll buy it. Yeah. Like the Matrix, I bought the Matrix on DVD, all of them. I bought all of them on Blu-ray. I bought the special collector's edition with that had Matrix 1.5 in it because I wanted to watch that, which favorite documentary ever. And it had the bust statue of Neo, and which I don't know what that is anymore. But yeah, well, if my digital goes away, I'll buy the next version somehow, some way, and do that. So I don't mind. But I know a lot of people do like their physical media and those kind of things.
I like the physical copies, and now that's the nice thing, especially with DVD and Blu-ray. Like I said, I bought DVD and Blu-ray stuff for the first time in a while last week when it was at the thrift store, but I got all the Harry Potter movies for $4. It's the entire collection. I was like, I can't even rent this on Amazon for this price. So yeah, I'm gonna just do this.
You still have a Blu-ray player, yeah?
Yeah. Oh, I don't know if the PS5 plays Blu-rays, but I know the PS4 and I think the PS3 did. I have all the systems still, so and I have the drives that I took out of the computers that I took from work that didn't work. Those are Blu-ray drives.
Well, and when Blu-ray first came out, it was basically more affordable to buy a gaming system than a Blu-ray player.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. My first Blu-ray was a PlayStation, I'm pretty sure. But it's funny how things come back around. So my youngest daughter, we went to an estate sale for a movie set, and for I think $30, she bought this TV that was obviously a prop. It's a cabinet TV, CRT, and but it's a little bit more modern. So it's color CRT, and it's got little digital buttons instead of a clicker on it, but only has the RCA inputs, right? Or maybe a coax cable, but of course, you know, PlayStation 7 won't work that. So I went and ordered for like $30 an adapter that's powered that lets me go HDMI into the one end, and the other end is red, yellow, white into the TV, and it works because my daughter is my daughter. She's curious. She wants to get into things, but she doesn't separate old from new. So she wanted to play it's a PlayStation 4. I've got the PSVR on that, so she wanted to play the PSVR, but have it show up on that TV. And like, well, that's kind of cool. I dig that. So she did that, and then we went to GameStop, and for $40, I think she got 4 games because it was like 4 for $40 sale or something like that. And she picked out games. But then I'm asking her about it. I was like, how are they? What are they? She's like, well, this one I can't read the screen. It's like, yeah, welcome to our world, baby girl. That's why when you see the retro games, you're like, why is there only 4 words and they cover the screen? This is why. And then I showed her, I flipped it over where the PlayStation was on the I have a little $100 flat screen on the wall for her, right? It's HD, that's the high end, whatever. And it's like, so now the PlayStation's on that, so she can read the instructions and stuff of the game. And she has a Roku on that TV, and at certain angles, you cannot read the menu words. It's just blurry. It's just, but she loves it, and she's having a blast.
So CRTs, there's a lot of people who are scooping them up. They've actually gone up in price if you've got a decent CRT, because they want the old feel for their video games. And there's some video games that you cannot play with original hardware on newer TVs, like Duck Hunt, for instance. You can't play that on newer TVs.
Because the way the light bounces back.
Because it takes into account, it was programmed to take into account the curvature of a CRT. So
I'll say it good.
I would say, like, a lot of games were made specifically for how CRTs drew lines for the picture.
Yep.
Yeah.
They only look correct, or the way that you remember, by using a screen like that. My birthday present this year was a RetroTink, basically upscale.
Oh yeah.
So I could play GameCube in HDMI, and that was, I mean, they're not cheap, but at the same time, it's like, great, I can actually see now if I use a projector, I can see what they're saying in this game because it was made to work with scan lines.
Right.
Yeah, and usually, and I think that one does too, has a lot of different video settings. You can be like, add in the scan lines, take out the scan lines, have smoother graphics, and so you can tweak it to whatever your preference is.
Yeah, but but I have someone actually brought me a CRT at work. They saw it on the road for garbage pickup. They're like, "Hey, it still works. Do you want it?" And I was like, "Hell yeah, I do!" Besides all my systems here, I also have a spare Dreamcast, a spare PS2, and a spare PS1 and a spare GameCube at work. And just for anyone that walks by my office, be like, "Hey, you want to play Mario Kart Double Dash?" You have a CRT TV? Like I do, and I can't move it because it's too heavy.
What I need to do is go find Family Matters and have her watch it off the Roku digitally, but on that TV where it's meant to be seen that way. I'm like, there you go. That's how that's supposed to be watched, baby girl. Just sit down and do that. You're all right. But we could go on. But mine. So I talked about the game Solo Leveling and how I had every time I laugh, it's more or less because Sean's pulling a bit and it's awesome. I saw the advertisement for the game. I downloaded the game on my phone. I liked it. I was really into the story as they told it in the game. And then I stopped playing it because there's a lot of autoplay to it, which is great. I just don't have the time. And it caught me enough that's like, I really would like to enjoy this. And I'm not sure how much of the game I can enjoy without the show. So I went and found it on Crunchyroll. I have the free what am I trying to say? Subscription.
The free version,
yeah. The free
you have a free account.
And so I've been binge watching Solo Leveling. It's so good. I don't know what it is about that type of world where it's still in the modern world, and yet you brought some D&D into it, like with these gates that open up to other worlds, and it unlocked in humans certain ones, hunter abilities and this and that to go fight the magic. So it didn't like totally make a new world. It's our world, but it's just but then you got this interesting third layer in there of only the solo level, right? Is that he's got some kind of video game, almost like he's the character in the game, but nobody else can see the screens, and he gets missions and he gets leveling up that literally changes him. Like he dumps a lot of early on, he dumps a lot of into his strength stat, and he like gets abs and different things and gets strong. But the rest of the world doesn't understand it, and he doesn't understand it. I don't understand. I'm only 6 episodes in. I don't know why it's going on, but it is just something about that one that I'm really, really loving.
Yeah, no, it has gotten a ton of praise, and especially even the dub voice actor for the main character. He's been getting a ton of praise. There's people that
He's pretty good.
The finale. People were saying they actually preferred the dubbed to the subbed version to the original because of how much feeling and just emotion he put into the finale. So yeah, it's good stuff. Solo Leveling is very good.
You know, that until you mentioned that, it didn't even dawn on me, but it's that the dub is very good because I realized that it never dawned on me that this was not how it was originally created. Right? There's definitely some you can watch and go, yeah, no, I get it. It's a translation, or it's not quite matching the moment, and you can just feel it. But never even dawned on me that this just wasn't an American cartoon. I mean, I knew it wasn't, but from the way the audio is recorded. So, Sean, when real voice actors do work, you can't tell. Just
well, and what's neat about Solo Leveling is
yes. Yeah. Say the neat thing, and then I'll say my thing.
What's neat about Solo Leveling is it's not based on manga. It's not based off of Japanese manga. It's actually based off of a Korean manhwa, basically a Korean manga, a Korean webtoon. So yeah, good stuff.
so what's your thing?
Well, no. So the interesting to me thing, and maybe other voice actors. When I started learning voice acting, I was in college. I was studying theater, and back then that was right around the shift where a lot of voice acting went from kind of a high dramatic too very hyper realistic. Like we want it to be realistic and natural and real. And the good and the bad thing is I missed that note in voice acting. So it took me a while to retrain myself. The good thing was, as specific to voice acting, is that made it more like all the other forms of acting, method acting, and being realistic and finding the natural cues. So now, to what you were saying is you shouldn't tell you're acting. Correct. You should just be yourself in this situation. Maybe find the voice that fits the character, but otherwise act like you would act in this situation.
Yeah, well,
and that's the thing now.
A lot of voice acting, the artists a lot of times will base the facial expressions on the voice actors that are doing it. I've heard that time and time again. Yes, if you're lucky, you're right.
Or famous.
And that's more of American cartoon, like bigger American stuff, like Disney stuff and stuff like that. They'll base it off of that. But yeah, and you popped it up on the screen briefly there, Charles, from Random Kid. Dubbing has gotten a lot better over the years, like 100%.
Yeah.
Well, and localization has gotten a lot better. There is an ridiculed part of the Pokemon anime where in the dubbed version, Brock brings out these rice balls and he calls them donuts because the localization turned them into donuts. He's like, the jelly filled ones are the best. And so
I forgot about that. Yeah,
just some really, really dumb localization decisions were made. And Japanese culture just cultures in general, international cultures have spread so much, awareness has spread so much about them that they don't need as much localization anymore because you can understand the culture that it's coming from. So
because we care now.
Yeah.
Now, I remember that episode, and then I remember when I figured out what that meant is I think 10 years later I was watching Fruits Basket, and I was like, oh, they're talking about rice balls that are stuffed with something.
Yes,
that's different.
Do you like Fruits Basket? I've been considering giving it a try.
I mean, I watched that back in 2011, 2012, but I liked it. I actually got a little weepy. It's a sensitive anime, but it was nice. I liked it.
Okay.
My last thing here before we move on is the kind of reverse of nerding out. I hate Tennessee conventions, and here's why. I've been to a bunch of conventions in a few different states. I've at most spent like $5-10 on some really cool stickers, and very rarely do I spend anything. This year I've been to 2 Tennessee conventions, and this year I've spent upwards of $50 at both conventions. And I'm sick of it, Tennessee. I'm sick of you taking my money. Last one was the beard guy. Which, he was at this one too, so I talked to him a little bit more, and he's like, hey, I still have more wares. Like, yeah, no, I've still, that thing you sold me, I barely put a dent in, man. I'm good. Thanks. We talked 3 minutes. Then found a great Funko Pop. I mean, there's a bunch of them. When I say great, I mean reasonably priced. This was $16, which is about right, and a well set up, good selection. And I found my boy. I got just a standard. I don't need any exclusive. I don't need a standard. I got my Inosuke. He's got the mask on because they were shown on the side. I was like, I told Zoe, I'm like, if he doesn't have the mask, which they keep trying to make Inosuke statues without the mask. Stop. Nobody cares about his beautiful blue eyes. We want to see the head. Come on, man. But this one, there's 2 different ones they had, but he has the attack stance and the beast breathing going on. He's got his swords. So $16. Done. Found the same one a few stands over for $35. So I was very happy. So, thank you, Tennessee, but stop taking my money. But wait, there's more. Now, my daughter, I spent a little bit of money on her, but it was
only one, Johnny.
I spent less than $20 on Zoe. Like, she got these cool little figurines that she liked, and she got some Demon Slayer earrings. Is all good. But Joe, I don't expect you to get to this one, but Sean, you might. Do you know when I say this quote, who people think about? Heavy is the head that wears the crown.
I've heard that so many times. So what do people generally think about? I
couldn't say he said it. I'm not sure if he said it, but there's a famous painting
Shakespeare
of Biggie Smalls wearing the crown. And so I got this ginormous Notorious B.I.G.
Cool.
with the crown on it, which is the basically the painting that comes from where he has his cane and his chains and everything, and he's wearing the crown. So this is the same stand that had the Inosuke for $35. They had $55 on the sink. Now, for the players at home that can't see it, it is bigger than my head. It's one of the giant. It's a Notorious B.I.G. 162 Funko limited edition vinyl figure with crown. So if you want to look it up to get a size on it, but it's huge. It's a but here's why. Okay, so Randall Kisses makes me think of Luke Cage. He's not being racist. There's a very beautiful scene where there's this transition of the character, and when he stands up and he's really taking this power, and you can see it. He stands out in front of the Biggie picture, and the crown is right there on his head, basically.
I just made me laugh.
Oh, good. I'm glad you laughed. But I also have something. So it's really. I was like, I asked the lady about it because I didn't see the little sticker at first, and she helped me find it. So it's $55. Like, I'm not spending $50 on one of those things. And so my daughter was going through the little figurine. He's like 3 for $10, and she's seeing if she wanted anything and this and the other. And the lady's like, "Hey, my husband just went to dinner. I'll probably get in trouble. You want to make me a deal?" And I'm like, "Sure, $30." And she's like, she was 40. I'm like, done. I'll take it for 40. So for what I bought Zoe and Biggie, we paid $2 less with everything than just what they originally priced the Biggie. So I felt like I got a deal. Then, of course, I do what I do. I went right to eBay, and I could get it for about the same price plus shipping right now. So I made out okay. I wanted him, and she came down to no. I mean, $15 discount. I'll take it. That paid for a Inosuke. But yeah, stop going to Tennessee cons because they'll take your money.
Roll that dice.
Okay, John, while he's rolling.
I would say, like, you're getting out of a con spending $50. You're doing great.
Oh no, I think I spent $120 total.
Still not bad.
Yeah, I agree. Still not bad, but I don't like it. What do we get, Joe?
I spend that much on
Stay
scotch
tuned
for
for this commercial break.
Hey, I got the music. And Sin Raven is here just in time for a commercial break, but we'll be back right after these messages. We'll be right back. Well, that was loud. As we said earlier in the show, go to patreon.com/wise_n_nerdy. Join our famdom over there where you can pledge as little as 50 cents an episode if you want. But for $1, you get some levels. At $5, I think it is, you get some levels. And for $13, you can be a Scotchketeer, and you and I can have a drink when we see each other in the real world. So we have way more than that. Just, I like the drinking, but we got Discord. We got all kind of cool stuff. So check us out. Now chill out for a moment. Oh, well, that's not how that was supposed to go. I thought I was going to play here. We're going to do a song. We're not ready yet.
My wife said Tennessee might take your money, but at least we have Slurpees.
This is true. This is true. I like this one. You okay with it, Sean?
Yeah, I'm just getting ready for that Pink Floyd concert, man.
We would like to hear from you. Call your dad. wiseandnerdy.com/calldad, and that will get you on the show, just like this soundbite we've got right now. I believe Cousin Mike called in this week.
Sure did.
Hey guys, Cousin Mike calling in again. On my lunch break right now, and I just finished an episode of the podcast. I think it's the most current one. But Charles was talking about how he was super excited. His daughter was getting into gaming, and he showed her Portal 2, and she's able to beat it in basically a week. And that's really cool. Charles, fantastic parenting, showing her actual good games instead of letting her play stuff like,
right,
I don't know, Roblox and Fortnite. Anyways, I just wanted to let everyone know that Steam has an amazing feature. It's coming. It's in beta right now, but it's called Steam Families. And what it does is allows you to pool your game licenses together with up to 5 other people, so 6 people total. And why they've changed this is the old one used to work where someone could play any one of your games while you're not playing. But as soon as you went to go play one of your games, it would kick someone off
Gotcha.
playing your old games. And so, yeah, it was awful. Now it pools the licenses, so if your group of 6 owns 3 copies of Skyrim, 3 people can play it all at the same time. Anyways, yeah, just wanted to let all the parents out there know, because it's a fantastic way to save money and play games. Anyways, take care, everyone.
That's awesome. Thank you. Because I'm glad you brought up Portal 2 again, because once she beat the game, I was showing her some downloaded levels. I was like, hey, the 2-player version is different and it's a lot of fun, but I don't want to buy a second copy. And I said, Joe and I played it together. So she goes, so when can I play with Joe? Like, I'll set that up. So she wants to, well, every once in a while, Joe, we'll do a stream game night. So we need to set that up so you and her can play. And of course, I'll be on the stream with you too, but play Portal 2. But that family thing would mean that I could possibly load up on, I think I have or at least my MacBook Pro should do it. I could load up my MacBook Pro so she could be here, I could be there. I'm curious to see that come out of beta, because that was my thing. Is like it's just not worth it to me to buy another copy of Portal 2 just to play the 2-player game with her. So that will be fun. But
so I also just re-downloaded Portal 2 because I never played the single player version. I only played the 2-person robot co-op version.
That's the post game, basically.
Yes, but I was with a person that wanted to play together, and then when I was at work, they played the single player campaign. So every time I got home, it was 2-player time, and I just never saw it. And so then, I don't know, it took us, let's say, 3 weeks to beat it, and at that point, something else, Borderlands 2 or something, was coming out.
Sure,
So
right, yeah.
Man, I need to try that fan-made add-on that they did for Portal 2.
Oh, there's not the fan made. Now you're probably talking about the one that's the most well received.
Yeah, the Portal Revolution or whatever.
Oh, that's not the one I'm thinking of. There's one like Portal Maddie or something like that. Maddie, I think. But it's because I searched for Zoe. It's okay. Let me see if there's downloadable levels.
Tell me what it is.
It's just an add-on that goes on the Portal 2 that extends that first player game into more.
Cool.
I haven't downloaded it yet, but when I searched it, it said, I think it's called Portal Maddie, and it says like the highest rated fan made level, but I hadn't even heard of the one you're talking about, Joe. But that's the thing.
You're the one that told me about it.
The Revolutions or whatever. Yeah. I don't remember that because I didn't research it in the last week.
You thought this was months ago. You thought it was a new Portal game that was coming out. And,
yes.
And so I was like, I looked it up and I'm like, no, this is fan made. But if I remember correctly, it was fan made with permission from Steam.
Probably. They actually have a supported community that you can go in. I think you can go through the game itself even and get the levels downloaded. Yeah,
so it's Portal Revolution, and if I remember correctly, it actually takes place. They set it up to take place between Portal 1 and Portal 2. Like it's supposed to be a prequel to Portal 2.
And that's different. I'm pretty sure that Portal Maddie, I think is what it's called, is like a first person version. You're gonna love it, Sean. It's still only about 8-10 hour game, but it's awesome. It's so much fun. And it
I actually have time to play it.
Yeah.
Ironically, Portal 1 is on sale for $1 right now. If anyone hasn't played it yet.
Anyone has not played it, get it. Holy crap.
Don't have that. So here's the other excitement that I have with this idea of families. I had an original Steam account, and I don't know what happened when I did, but I lost the password. I did something I at the time, this is 15, 20 years ago, right? Steam was still, they weren't that old. I got my original Steam account from the orange box, right? That's, just put in this code and you have the code. So I had all the XCOM games, all of the Half-Life and family games, all the Portals, all the freaking Battlefield one that they did that kind of started that whole revolution. all that stuff. And it's basically not gone because I'm sure the account probably exists somewhere. But if I can now join the licenses, because I was like, at some point, like, it's not worth it now. I've done a new account. I've got so many games. I don't want to have to log in and out. But if I can share it as if by my own, Counter-Strike. Thank you, random kid. There's that and Team Fortress. Counter-Strike and Team Fortress both came out of Half-Life. But yeah, if I can now go recover my old licenses, bring them in with my new ones. Now we're talking, because I have Portal 1 and I have all that other stuff on there. But yeah, for $1, I'll be more than happy to get a Portal 1, because I told her, I said, you need that part of the story, because that's the case is a lie, and you don't know why. You do not know why.
If you wait long enough, usually you can find like the whole Valve library for like $6-7.
It comes and goes. I got on the Half-Life anniversary, but it did not include Portal. It included Portal 2, I think, actually, and all the Half-Life was Night Shift being Blue Shift being one of my favorites.
Blue Shift.
That's where you're the
Mass
security
Effect
guard.
Blue Shift or
nope, Half-Life.
Half-Life Blue Shift. Okay.
Yeah, you play through the Half-Life. All their first spin-offs, all of them were the same game from a different perspective. And so sometimes you're the military coming in on one version, and the Blue Shift, you're the security guard when everything goes down.
Yeah, I need to actually play them, because I have them, because I bought them as that bundle when it was super cheap. I've never played the Half-Life games.
For me, it's still triggering. So I got Half-Life 2 downloaded. No, is it 1 or 2 right here? It's on my desktop. Hold on. It is Half-Life, not 2. So it's the first one. So I got the original I had it, so here, play this. And so she does. What's funny is Mike's like, good games instead of like Roblox and the other one, whatever that was. And Sean's kind of like, oh, I played those games. She played those as well, but yeah.
So I have a hard time keeping my daughter off of Roblox. I have friends that worked on the game, and I talk to any parent anywhere, and they're like, double birds to the sky to Roblox, because that's the most addictive thing ever. And I agree. My daughter's attitude gets incredibly sassy after she plays Roblox for more than 20 minutes. I'm not a fan. However, I do still try to balance work, chores, motivation to like, all right, you can get an hour of Roblox. Yeah, sure. And then if you stay any longer, I will break that iPad mini in half.
Yeah, she likes. She plays. She actually won once or twice on Fortnite. Now Zoe's 11.
I'm 7-0. That's about how many times I played it. But I played it with my boss and his kid, and he's like, "Why do you guys keep winning with me?" It's like, because we're adults and we know how to communicate without being mean to each other.
That's great.
I'd never played it before. We run 7 in a row.
I did have to. Here's what I love about the original Half-Life, amongst other things. I had to tell her what gaming really is like and what it should be like and how you have to learn. And I taught her the trick of, if you can save before you do something, do that, so you're not losing all your progress, those kind of things. But she did something when I say the game's triggering to me, because it was the game that taught me to think differently, because I was a bull in the china shop, brute force everything. Those were the games I played, and you just go in, you're the superhero, you blast away, Duke Nukem, right? Doom, those kind of things. Yeah. So I'm playing it, and you can't do that in this game. And I remember being highly emotionally unstable when I had this game and all this other stuff. That's the story time. I'll tell the story of how I bought Half-Life on another show. But she's playing it and she's stuck in this area, and it's brutal, right? It just starts hitting her stuff, and you got to figure out you can't attack these. You got to run, and she's dying. She's not getting mad, but I'm sitting over next to her just going, I want to take the controller. I want to throw things for her. It's triggering all these old emotions. And I can't help you, baby. What I can teach you, though, is here's a hard lesson with games. You saved it, but it's still putting you at the spot you don't want to be. And now you've learned up until the thing. So you might need to start this whole thing over with a new mindset and go through. But you're going to have to do it without me, because it's triggered me. All I want to do is take the keyboard away from you and smash this game. I got to go. But yeah, it was a good thing.
I have a story time to go along with that whenever that segment comes up, because I have a very distinct core memory. I was not a very good action-paced gamer. I liked like Myst when that came out.
Yeah.
Oh, let's solve the puzzles. Yeah.
Well, you know what? What we'll do is we'll do that right after the show in the patron part of it, and share that thought. So that'd be awesome.
Let me stroke
Roll
my
that
beard.
dice.
Holy crap! We're only halfway through the show.
It's personal story time.
All right, so this is the part of the show where we share a story and sometimes pull a moral out of it. And tonight's theme is moving long distances. I know both of you have moved across country. I have not moved across country, but I've moved from one end of the state of Georgia to the other. So I thought we might share some stories on what we've learned about. I hate moving. You can rub your fake eye tears all you want. Not fake tears. I know those are fake eyes. With tears
I moved across Georgia.
I hate moving, man. So y'all tell your story then, since you're so much better than me.
When I was 12, we moved. It was 11 or 12. We moved from Washington State to Pennsylvania.
Oh.
Yeah. The big trip.
The Bobcat in the back.
No, we did a road trip from Washington State to Pennsylvania with the Bobcat before, but he did not come with us when we moved. We actually gave him to someone who had a Bobcat already, so then they had two before we moved. So
we're talking about the animal, Sean.
Yes, we are. I had a Bobcat as a kid.
Yeah, like Bobcat Goldthwait. That would have been awesome.
I gotta pee. Pull over. They're slurping. He's got me down. I gotta pee. He's my favorite. All right, sorry. Side note, Sean. Netflix. He did a special about 2 years ago. It's the best thing ever. It's so good. Oh, all right, man. Carry on with your story.
Yeah. So we moved. We made really good time. 2.5 days is what it took us to get there. We had our moving truck that was pulling our van, and then we had a truck as well, and we had 3 drivers. And so what we did is we put a mattress in the bed of the truck, and it was a covered bed, and we rotated who was driving. So there was always 2 people driving, one the moving truck and one our regular truck, and then one driver was sleeping in the bed of the truck. And so we drove basically nonstop from Washington State to Pennsylvania. And I say basically because when we were about 3 hours out from our destination, we decided to get a hotel just for the afternoon so that we could all shower and whatnot before we got to Pennsylvania, because we were all a little funky fresh after 2 days in the car. And so, yeah, it was quite the experience. My dad at one point got so tired that he had me just sitting there smacking him on the arm to keep him awake. And
that's not good.
No, it isn't. It isn't. Especially because my dad, when he gets tired, he starts hallucinating a little bit. So he even turned to me at one point and he said, yeah, if I see any cows or little girls in the road, I'm just running them over, because he knew they were hallucinations.
Oh no!
And
Papa
so
NASCAR.
Yeah, there was one time when I was in the truck and he in the actual truck and he was in the moving truck, and we're behind the moving truck and we see the moving truck go, and we're like, we better stop and switch drivers, because he is definitely falling asleep at the wheel. But we didn't have cell phones at the time, so we actually had walkie-talkies that we would communicate with each other on the road trip. And those worked really well, except when we crossed streams with other people that had walkie-talkies, and so we ended up talking to some other people for a little while on the road trip. It was good. Yeah, it was long and everyone was tired by the end, but we got it done.
Now, Sean, yours was Yours was a year. Oh, I saw that. I saw that, sir. Shame on you.
No,
It's okay.
Look
Drink
at this
that
album
apple
from
juice.
Creedence Clearwater Revival.
What's so funny is the bit is almost ignorable at this point, but when you didn't do the bit, it jumped out massively. All of us were like, "God, what are you doing?" It's so good.
The next album is good.
So good. But Sean, you moved about 2 years ago across country with 2 kids and a wife as an adult. How was that? Because Joe's, you were
2
a kid,
cats,
right?
Yeah, but I mean, as an adult, like when we first got married,
Hey, it's not your time. Talking stick has been passed.
From Idaho to Tennessee.
God, more stories. So, yeah, this was my 30th move in my life, and I count moves as changing mailing addresses. So not like a month spending at a friend's house or whatever. I'd lived in Georgia for 7 years, and I moved from Georgia to Texas. Before that, I moved actually from Allentown, Pennsylvania, down to Atlanta, Georgia. That was also a crappy move. And what can I tell you? Cats. So I don't have a bobcat, but I had 2 cats. What I did on this move is my cat, it was this black cat named Tenebrae. She hates being in a cage. Yeah, 30 moves. Army brat into basically adult who worked at a Ren Fair, who's at a theater degree that was like, video games in my life, but I'm a bartender to support myself financially. 30 moves. So I knew my cat did not like being in a cage while moving because of the Allentown to Georgia thing. So what I did when I moved with her is I had the moving truck towing my car, basically like all the valuable stuff we do on the movers to take. And I just let her out in the cab. So I'm like, baby, you just do your thing. It's fine. And that was okay. I did not realize because of how old she was. I didn't really think that 12 was that old for a cat. She died the day we got to Texas.
Oh, wow.
Stopped, like her back legs stopped moving. She stopped functioning. I had to take her to an emergency vet clinic and put her down. And it's sad. Like I have this mustache. So like crying and dripping snot. And then like holding a cat carrying me like, where are your tissues?
Well, it's not supposed to be funny.
I looked awful. And like trying to wipe it, and then you're like, see, you want to go in the room? Do you want the diamond package or the one that like we put her in a box and cremate her ashes and put stone around the side? Like, I just fucked it.
Yeah.
So that was rough. This is going into moving into different territory, but I will tell you one funny thing. And then I'll get back to the moving part.
That wasn't funny enough.
No, because I mean I was distraught. This was my cat. I got her.
Of course you were.
She was found on a construction site at a wall. She fell asleep in my arm. I took her home. You know, like she was my little buddy. She always fell asleep in my armpit. So they kept telling me like, hey, we're going to bring her in so you can do the visitation before we do the rest of the things that, you know, to have her pass peacefully. And just, you know, she's going to come out and we're going to give her some oxygen so she can breathe and so she's really nice and helpful. It helped. So they come out. And so I think like medical situation, oxygen, you know, like they have those little tubes in your nose and a little thing that goes around.
Yeah.
That's what I was expecting. So they come out and they just lay this like fat, like corrugated plastic tube in front of her face. Yeah. And I'm like panicking, like, no, where's her oxygen? And they're like, no, sir, that big tube in front of her face is blowing oxygen in her face. And I'm like, oh.
You wanted a little catty nasal cannula to hook on.
Yeah, no, that's what I thought. Yeah, that's what I was expecting. This is a real establishment. Where's my cat nose oxygen cannula thing? I'm that much of a I guess a cat dad. I have a real child too. God forbid anything happened to her or him both because I have a son and a daughter. But yeah, no,
your favorite.
It was my black cat named Tenebrae, named after the character from Tales of Symphonia 2. Because that's the game I was playing when I found her. But yeah, so other tips for moving or stories for moving besides letting your cat have her best life on your last part of your move. Oh gosh, when you're towing a car, especially if you like the car. Centering it on a trailer is super important. I don't just mean like, hey, make sure that the wheels aren't like hanging off the side, but I mean like seriously centering it, because it can frick up your alignment really bad. And if you have like a rare import Japanese car, it can be really hard to go find an alignment shop that'll work on it. So make sure it's centered. If you see bumps in the road, don't hit them at full speed, because that Penske that you're renting that's rated for 55 miles an hour, but you're driving at 75 because that's how fast everyone else is going. Slow the F down. Because your expensive Japanese import is going to be bouncing like hell on that trailer and wrecking the suspension.
Oof.
I love that car. Not as much as I love my cat, but close.
So, but in this story, it sounds like the moral is don't move or you'll lose your car and your cat.
Tenacious D.
Right?
Yes. Great album.
Don't blow it, Cage. No, I still have the car, at least, I guess. Consolation prize. But there's a lot of important things to moving. Pack anything that's valuable, pack yourself and bring it in a car.
Did the kids
if you have a
ride with
company.
you, or did y'all fly the kids?
So, oh man. So
they didn't pack them themselves.
This is the.
You could read into that however you want.
Yeah.
Gross. If you can, any trip that you can fly with your kids, the better. If you have a partner that will drive with you or take turns driving, great. If not, let them fly, because it'll be a saner trip for you.
I'm bringing in the kids rode with you, and there were things in play that
I did one full drive with just me and my daughter, and it was great. Except for and another point, let's say they have a smart device that they can play games on, whatever games, or watch videos on.
Sure.
Download that stuff before you drive, because if you link it to your phone, unless you have an unlimited data plan, it wears out in 3 hours, and then you have a child talking to you for the next 16 hours.
Oh,
and
no.
Not that you know what? At 6 years old, not a good combo. It's just a lot of explaining stuff that you're going to explain again in 10 minutes, man.
You're not really diving into Nietzsche there.
No, you're not. And even then, I actually got a comic book of Nietzsche explaining all of his theories, like in graphic format. Even that.
You
do. Yeah, why not? I thought it could work out. I still am the only one reading it or thinking it's cool. Ooh, what's this one? Ooh,
man.
Nice.
That's a rough story. I hate moving. I never want to move across country. And if I have to, it's all going in a moving van like Mayflower, and I'm just flying out there. We're going to stay in a resort for a week until the house is set up.
That's good. And honestly, after the age of 30, maybe 33, you're not as strong as you used to be. Even if you lift every day, all of a sudden those bookcases get heavy, Jack.
I'm ox-like strong. I'd be fine.
Right? No. Because I had, by the time we moved, and I think one of them happened before, I had 2 hernias, and then I had to get a double hernia repair.
No.
Oh, fun.
And that recovery wasn't great. And then I broke my foot, and that recovery wasn't great. So I'm like a year into just not walking with a cane finally. So
Oof.
yeah, don't try.
Did you at least have a stylish cane? It could go really well with your mustache.
I did. I had a shillelagh and actually just replaced the tip. It's got a nice brass tip on the end. And now people. That funky monkey. Yeah. Now it's just part of my style when I go to conferences, even though I don't need it anymore. Oh,
I dig it. You're losing it.
Roll that dice.
Oh man, what numbers do we even have left? There we go.
5 and 6. Or
Bad dad jokes.
So we've got wait, Pac-Man. Is that Pac-Man?
No.
That's Primal Rage.
Oh, right.
Right? Yeah. Sega Genesis.
Sega. So this is the time of the show where we ruin my night. We hear some bad dad jokes. And by the way, tonight's show notes for the live, right? The live stuff on YouTube and Twitch and Facebook. That came from ChatGPT. And I said, tell me about being a nerdy dad. And it actually gave a nice little short essay on what nerd dads are and how awesome we are. It even gave some examples. So there you go. You're welcome. Go to our Facebook page or Twitch page or YouTube and read them there. But these bad dad jokes are not AI generated. And Joe's already got that grin on his face.
I don't know what you're talking about. Did you hear about the priest with a fake nose and mustache? He was a blessing in disguise.
What? That didn't even make sense. He was a blessing in disguise.
Oh.
Sean, you said you like to mention what?
I've got another one for you. Yeah, sure.
Oh,
I found a fake mustache on a squash. It really caught me off guard.
see, Sean.
I like that one.
Oh no, you betrayed me, sir. You betrayed me. I thought we were both in the pain camp. Like, oh no.
Well, no, the first one, I honestly, it took me long enough to get that. I'm like, nah. I mean, at least
Even my wife is face palming in chat.
I know what that gourd is. Yeah.
So, hey, Council of Dads, let's get out of this territory that I don't like to be.
Why wasn't the woman happy with the Velcro she bought?
Why?
It's a total ripoff.
You guys got to go watch the video on that. Sean sells it. He sells it. It was good. All right, now we're gonna wrap up the show. We'll wrap up the show with Council of Dads. What's the right age to get married? What do you guys think? If I remember right, I know I have to ask you like every time, Sean. You're on your first marriage, not second, right?
Correct. Yes.
Great. And Joe, you're on your first. We're working on that. Don't worry about
My only.
I'm on my first. I just have to check because I can't remember because I always mix up certain people's stories. And for some reason, I think Sean's been married before until I look at him like, no, I know you haven't been married before.
No, just having children for fun.
So what do you think? What's the right age to get married?
If you don't have kids, 58.
How very specific.
Yeah.
Just before retirement. Then you need someone who is legally responsible for you. Otherwise, just have a good relationship, talk to each other, and be nice. If you have children and one of you makes a lot more money than the other, taxes come into play. Not that you should get married because you have children, but some things are easier. But if you're independently wealthy or financially stable, then 30, unless you really, really need to before that and you have kids. Otherwise, 30 and have kids and stuff. Yeah.
No, I get you. 30 could seem right. You've lived some life. You've got some experience.
You should have some life, man. Not that people aren't valid for doing the other thing, but unless you have a social, economical, religious incentive to do it, get some study time in, know yourself.
I know yourself. I like that. Joe, you were betrothed at 14.
No.
In a blind choice marriage in the church to
Like what you see.
What?
You need more Sternbush to pull that off. Charles
Joe,
is like, I'm out of this conversation.
You say I need discipline topiary? Is that?
Oh my God.
So, I like that you mentioned the religious aspects, Sean. So being religious, I believed in saving myself until marriage, and so did my wife.
So you're not saved anymore?
Not anymore.
You lost the discount.
My wife was my wife was 20 and I was 23 when we got married. And nowadays for most people that is way crazy young. But there are some benefits, especially if you're in college, to getting married young. And you're like, what?
That's my face. That's like,
so,
no. That seems like a difficulty, sir.
No. So financial benefits of getting married when you're still in college is you no longer have to declare your parents' income on FAFSA. And so I was already getting a Pell Grant because my dad was deceased and my mom was she could not work because she had terminal cancer when I was in college. So, but when I got married, my wife no longer had to declare her parents' income on her FAFSA. And so at that point, she got Pell Grants for the remainder of her college years. Granted, she only had like a year and a half left by the time we got married, but still, a couple years of financial aid helps out quite a bit.
So, honest question too. That makes sense, and that's going to play into my take on marriage. But how did the living arrangements work? Because if you're college students working on grants to go to college, it seemed like you could afford your own place.
We had our own apartment.
Did you? You were working on the side and could afford it, or?
Yeah. So all throughout college, I had at least one job. But I know,
but you're talking about what, the late 90s you went to college, early 2000s? I mean, I'm talking about minimum wage, man.
Probably when you started college?
Actually, you are close. So I graduated high school in 2005, but I didn't start college until 2008.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I was about to say, like, I was right, but okay, fine.
Yeah, you were pretty close.
Rent started going up then. Well, I guess there's a housing crash, but
that's before the crash. But also, you're doing a good job at that time is $10 an hour, and so I'm just a little surprised as a college student getting grants. That I'm glad to hear it, but that you were able to. But I bet you ate a lot of ramen.
No, I don't think we ate hardly any ramen until we were in college.
See, I hate Joe so much. I was a broke college student.
So I've told you before that there were a couple of semesters where I had to have them reduce the amount of money I got from my grants because I was exceeding the allowable amount. Have I not told you that?
Yeah, because you also, I forgot you went to didn't you go to Brigham Young or?
Yeah, so Sean, for those that aren't in the know, I have talked about this before. The tuition for a full-time student was $1,850 a semester. 1,850
in 2008, dude. 2008, yeah.
And so it is the school I chose, the Brigham Young University in Idaho, very, very reasonably priced. You won't find more reasonably priced. And I think our rent after we got married was $600 or $700 for a month. So it wasn't bad at all. I think it was $600. I think it was $600
for a single apartment.
Yeah. And so it wasn't too bad.
Okay, but it's also in nowhere, Utah, Sean, not in Austin, Idaho, freaking Texas.
I mean, I was about to say Phoenix, but really I was in Mesa, paying more than that. I lived next to a dive bar, which was awesome, but for me, but still, like, oh man, like.
Yeah, no, I worked at least one job and I got really good financial help. So it worked out well.
So that part of the story is very important for somebody taking advice of you can save money by getting married in college. Not that you're wrong, but yeah, all those other details matter to what you're saying.
I don't think that should be the incentive to get married. I'm just saying that benefit is there if you do happen to get married young.
So, to piggyback slightly on that and to take it the wrong direction. There is a difference between legal wedding or marriage and religious marriage. And any benefit that the federal or state government will offer you for being in any situation, take it. Just take it. Just do it. It might change in 5 years. It might be invalid, whatever. But if you can do it, and you can, I actually have friends that you could honestly look at them and go, one of you is playing on a different team than the other. Great. And I know why you're doing it. And it's a law versus a religious thing. Do it. Freaking do it. Like, if you're both on board and you know why and how you're doing it, and financially it makes sense, do the math. And I say this in so many situations, but if you can do the math and it maths out to your benefit, do it. Just do it. It's fine. if you're not violating an ethical moral code based on some other institution that you do or do not believe in, great. Because there's state, there's religious, and they can be separate.
Yeah,
go for it.
And you still can't have the religious. Well, it depends on the state, probably, but you can't have the religious one be valid without the state one. In a lot of situations. That takes me to where I'm going now.
But you can go to a courthouse and do the thing, and you get the paper signed.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, we're friends. We're on board. It makes sense. Yeah. If it helps you,
just make sure you weigh all the legal ramifications that come along with that, that document.
Look, I kind of glossed, but try to just as long as you're both on board with each other. But
when Joe and I are older and our wives have passed away, we'll just legally get married just to get those tax breaks. Don't sweat it, Joe. I got you. It's all right. It's all right. We're just good co-hosts. That's all we are.
I should share a song that my brother and his friends wrote for you, called "Living with Dudes." It'll be it's just for you.
No, you need to send it so I can put it on a button and play it for the commercial break. That's what you need to do. So I got married young. There's a kiddo. Look at that. That was the life I needed. I needed some adult supervision in all parts of my life. And so
he still needs adult supervision.
Yeah, I know. Well, that's why I got married. I went from my parents' house to my wife's house, basically. And she was 18 and I was 23. And so we got married young, but it was very right for us. It was very specific to our situation. A little bit on the religious side of things, but honestly, a lot of it on the, you just know when you need somebody in your life thing. And it worked for us. We definitely have talked to our kids along the lines of what you're talking about, Sean. You big sobby baby.
Totally a softy. I'm sorry, my daughter needs me. I'm going to turn away from the microphone and
go do
whatever this is.
Love it. I love it. But we talked to all of our kids about it, and I was like, look, my vision on marriage has changed from when I was raised to where I am now. And by all means, my wife and I were meant to be together. And it doesn't matter what any paper says, but there are real good legal reasons to get married in most cases. If you're going to live together, if you're going to do anything, because it just makes it easier with medical stuff. Sometimes something as simple as child pickup, even if you are the father, but you're not married, it depends on the system. You might have to fill out extra paperwork, jump through extra hoops, just to be able to pick up your own kid. Whereas everybody has the same last name. The schools just don't bat an eye, right? Which can also be a problem, but definitely medical stuff, taxes. There's so many little legal things that come into play that's. I told my kids, like, just be wise. It's kind of like what you're saying, Sean. You live a little bit, you learn a little bit. I've never been one to say go out and drive different cars and try that out, but it's very much of you don't have to get married just because you're in love, but you also need to figure out why. I think ultimately we came down to the why of it all. I do kind of like the idea of 30. I know I never would have made it to 30 without having somebody in my life like my wife. And I'm a very fast person. Like once I know something, we're gone. We're doing this. So that, at 6 months after knowing that we were going to be married, we got married, and that's how we are. But not everybody needs to be that way. And it kind of comes like a tattoo, right? Yeah, there are ways to fix tattoos. There are ways to cover them up, change things up. But honestly, why rush into it? Think about it and really know that this is the right thing for you so you can have it the rest of your life. Too many of my friends have gotten divorced because for varying reasons, they rushed into things. And yet, I know a person that had a great marriage, and I was a little envious of him, actually. So when he was 17, he had his first kid, had his second kid when he was 19, and the last kid when he was like 21. And he got married, and he was still married to the same woman. And at the time that I knew him, his last kid was graduating high school, and we were like in our mid-30s. And I'm like, okay, I'm sure you had some problems in your teen years being a dad and being a dad in the 20s. But you're 35 and your last kid's out of high school. Yeah, I was like, oh my God, my first kids are in diapers, and I'm jealous of you right now. I love my kids, man. Oh, you have the youth and you have adult money to go play. and your kids are healthy adults, there's something to be said about teen pregnancy. I'm just saying.
No,
I'm not saying. I'm not saying that.
The same thing.
I am not saying that.
Like when I was bartending, like I was 31 when my daughter was born, and so my daughter's my second child. So my son is now 18. My daughter's 8. Time and space. But like I was bartending for these guys, and like they're executives and CEOs because it's a really high-end fine dining restaurant. So they're in there 48 to 56 having their first kid. They're looking at me going, "Oh, dude, you're doing it right, man. Like you're not going to be 60 when your daughter graduates high school." I'm like, yeah, that sounds awful.
Yeah, that does sound really awful.
Oh, my mom's 60. Like, at the time, she was.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, no, that's you don't do that. Like, not that you can't wait or you can't. There's not right or wrong times to have kids, but oh my gosh, especially as thinking about it as a parent, I wouldn't want to be any older than I am and starting a family because that's hard. It takes a lot of work, and if you have a full-time job and if you have a hobby, man, it's all gonna go away for a while, and it makes things really hard. Not that it's bad. Love being a dad. I'm a total sap. Obviously, if anyone was watching, like my daughter came in, I'm like, there is no show anymore. There's only you. What can I do for you? She was sad about her teacher. Her teacher's moving. She just finished second grade. She's going to third, but her second grade teacher is moving. She's like, I'm never going to see her anymore. I'm like, I'm sorry, baby. That sucks. Like had to talk about people moving across country. She's going to Missouri.
Yeah. We got to, I think we're all saying that there's no age to get married, right? It's not an age. You did say 58. You did say 50. Okay, now this is a good one from Kelsey Arts Puppet, sort of geekdom. The best age to get married is when you find the right person and you're financially and emotionally ready for it.
Yeah, 58.
But sometimes those things don't add up. So you just have to be able to survive, because I was not emotionally nor financially ready to get married.
Are you saying to do the math? Like I said,
to do the math.
No, do the effing math.
What my wife said is this one that I just posted.
She says, it is time to end the show. Thank you, Kelsey, for reminding us that it is that time to rock it. No, it's important. She says it's important to know yourself and be happy with your own self before it is. I can also tell you, I had and I'm not recommending my path, but I had the 100% opposite of it. So I can agree with that, but also know that sometimes survival is key. But the first,
Charles is never happy with himself. What?
Nah, I mean, whatever. But my wife and I will both tell you at least the first 5 years was about survival together. And that's not the ideal by any means. If you can be financially and emotionally ready and you can be happy with yourself, and there's that will absolutely change things, which plays into the 30 of Sean or the 58 of Sean, of all that. So, but with that being said, it's time to wrap this up. Sean, thank you for being on tonight.
Thanks for having me.
Where can they find you on the web?
You could Google, since I guess my name is up on the screen. You can Google Sean Weiland. I'll show up. On all the social medias, I'm male, MALE_NPC. And I show up on all that stuff. And you can come say hi. I also have a host of the Wasted Knowledge podcast, Tipple Theory podcast. I'm always on TikTok dispensing bartending knowledge. And Play Wizard 101. You can hear my voice somewhere, and it'll make me feel good.
And I don't remember that game from the name. I'm gonna look it up after this. And
it turns out I was a beta tester before I went to grad school, and I recently realized I found like an email buried in Gmail.
Thanks.
Follow these nerdy dads on social media. Charles at Rock God of Podcasting. Joe at Joseph_Ard. Check out the website, wiseandnerdy.com. And as always, they may not be your father, but they'll always be your daddy.
Hey, yeah, Mike Hurt everywhere. Hashtag shut up, Mike.
Oh, who is your daddy?
Sean, focus, Sean. I'm your daddy now.
Oh.